guess do you want to start, Cheryl?
Yeah, I think we have many of our regulars here, and so we
And
can
I don't think
start.
we have anyone new. Yeah.
Well, we need to ask.
Okay, so we need to, yeah, ask for the note taker, vibes watcher, and timekeeper. And after we get that, then we see about the agenda.
Well, I did the notes last time,
Thank you.
so I would like everybody to try to take a turn. Joan, I know you actually take your own notes. Could we press on you this time?
Yeah, I'll try to make them something that can be passed along as opposed to used for myself.
Right, but you pass them to me and I will always massage them.
Right, you'll minutes them up,
So,
format them up, etc. Okay, well, we'll see if nobody else can do it.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I'd rather be the backup than the person doing it, but
right. Well, I think everybody trying to take a turn is good.
yeah.
All right. Then vibes watcher and timekeeper.
Oh, Robin's on now. That's good.
What is a vibes watcher?
Aha.
You watch to see if there's any problems, and then you can call vibes if the tone isn't nice, or arguments or whatever.
I suspected that was what it was. Thank you.
Yeah. We have needed it occasionally, but we basically never need it now with our current attendees. But we try to get one. So, I mean, that's an easy job. I mean, I could always do that too. But a timekeeper is good to have, and it isn't too, you don't have to be too strict with it. It's a guideline is what I look at the times that Cheryl spends a lot of time thinking about for each. But yeah, so.
Want to try being vibes watcher, Judith?
I wouldn't be very good at that, and I have to leave early in any event, so that's probably not a good idea.
Okay.
Robin?
Dako, how about you being a vibes watcher? If we get horrible, you'll tell us.
It could be combined with whether we're off track or not.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, if we get off the subject, maybe, yeah, if we totally start talking about our gardens or something instead of.
I think she's not, doesn't look like she wants to do that.
Oh, if somebody else will take the notes, I could be the vibes watcher.
No.
Okay.
Eileen, I think would be a good one.
I'll do vibes watcher.
Thank you.
I'll rescue you.
Okay, Robin, you can be the vibes watcher then.
Okay.
So we need a note taker.
No, we have a note taker. We're looking for a timekeeper.
Oh, that's right, timekeeper. That's what we're looking for.
All right, I'll give it a try for timing. I know we'll always run over, and I will not be a favorite person. I'll accept that.
Okay, thank you, Eileen. Okay, so we have the 3 things we need, and then the next is to revise the agenda. Does anybody want to revise it at all? Gloria
has a revision.
Okay.
It's in the chat.
Right. She wants to add something to her communications.
Yes, it's called a poster. We discussed it, Cheryl.
Right. It's in fact to do with the WILPF Chicago branch.
Right, and it's a very anti-war or peace themed. It's about the arts, and this is part of our CCS group, Arts, Communication, and Sensitization.
Okay, well, you're already on the agenda for kind of, aren't you?
Yes, but that item was not part of the thing. It didn't include that. So Cheryl said I needed to specifically ask to include that.
Oh, okay.
But during her other item, it's fine, just to carry on when she needs.
Okay.
Okay,
Anybody
okay,
else?
yeah,
I mean, I will have some things to say when topics come up because they already fit into certain categories.
right. Okay, good. So, the next item 2A is brand new people. I don't think we have any brand new people. So we can go on. Short reports on WILF actions since the last meeting, if your topic is not on the agenda and not to do with hot topics.
I would like to report shortly a thing about PEP, but that's on the treaties thing way down below, but I have to leave at 5:30. Should
Okay,
I?
that's revising the agenda. We can put you on first.
Okay. This
yeah.
is the short report for PEP, Project Enduring Peace.
Right.
Okay,
And pardon?
go ahead. Yeah, why don't you do it now? So,
Yeah.
Rather than at the top of number 5.
Someone keeps making the sound. I don't know whether I'm supposed to go ahead or not.
Cheryl, I'm happy with her now, but if you want to put her on the top of 5, that's fine.
Right, because we will have a few more people dribble in, and
Okay.
doing these other things first will give a bigger audience for Judith. So I would make her go at the first part of 5.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. So anything else?
For 2B, I'd
reports?
like to tell you something that I'm excited about for the Boston, actually it's Newton. We have a congressional rep that has been very hawkish and very arrogant is the best word. And it turns out he is running again for re-election, and he'll probably get in because he's getting a lot of money from Jewish people. Well, at our standout, it was a silent vigil with about 50 people and with some guards this time because the smaller group that was there 2 weeks ago got interrupted is the best word by some very loud-spoken pro Israeli people. So anyway, I found out that one of the people from the Jewish Voice for Peace is probably going to ask if she can be a write-in on the ballot, just to give him a hard time. And we were trying to figure out how we're going to do that, but there are the primaries coming up in September. We can try it out there, and maybe for the real deal in November. Don't know how else to handle these hawk, arrogant folks.
Would you give us a couple of names for the minutes? Who is the rep who you don't
Jake
like?
Auchincloss has been on my not so nice list for a long time.
Right. And then who's the woman who would be asking to be a write-in?
At this point, I'll just say the name Jill. She's still trying to find somebody else who will be the write-in. However, when I pressed her and I said, and if we can't find anybody, remember I'll work with you for the whole summer to get all his cities involved and towns involved, which I've done before. Anti him and his business with having the AI weaponry stuff. He's not a good person. Anyway, she's got a lot of people on her side. She's a good leader, and I think I could work with her.
Give her courage. She should do it.
Don't worry, I am. She's already thanked me for encouraging her and presenting this option, because she was getting into that despair mode that a lot of us get into. So that's my good news.
Okay. Oops. Yeah. No.
Robin?
Yeah, okay, I wanted to ask, how did the board meeting go yesterday? And maybe Judith is, part of the agenda, will be speaking about that, but I just wondered, it seemed as though it was kind of momentous or very active. Is there any report that we could squeeze into this agenda to talk about it?
We could just tell you that and others that there was a lot of discussion. It was fairly even-handed, whatever. And the motion that Darian actually made carried 3 elements, and the third one was not to remove the communications director from office, but to reduce the amount in the budget by $2,000 instead of 8,000, it'll be 6,000. So basically it was a success. There were only 2 people who voted against the motion. There were some abstentions, but there were several of them, the board members, who voted for the motion to not remove the communications director from the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Pam, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I do. I have some good news that I think I found somebody to replace me. I don't know if you know, I started working at Peace Action 6 years ago, totally unexpected at 69 because we were crashing. We had a bad director, and I've been pulling it back up, and we're on our feet again. And I think I found a replacement. She's a third of my age. Imagine that. So, and she might be Palestinian. I haven't asked her. I think she's Middle Eastern, and she's a student at the university across the street. It just looks really good. And so maybe I'll have more time to take notes for Disarm again. I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
And is this
Yeah.
National Peace Action you're talking about, or your?
I kind of run Peace Action Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm the only person that works there. I do run it.
Great that the campus is so close, so it'll be convenient.
That's right across the street.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I listened to a webinar on Korea, and she stressed, this Dr. Chung, I think, stressed that the Biden administration is really like promoting this very hostile atmosphere, and that North Korea and South Korea really basically people want peace, but the United States and she said specifically the Biden administration is promoting this this hostility between them, and she was very not happy about it.
Did she
So I
describe
thought that was
specifically?
interesting.
Did,
Huh?
did she describe specifically what the Biden administration is doing? Or did she just complain that it was hostile?
Well, she wasn't. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact elements of it, but I think, yeah, she just was saying it was. She was saying, talking about it started with, it was a MAPPA webinar. I don't know if anybody else was on it. It's about the who took over the new leader in South Korea. But then she talked about trying to get the the union of the North and South, and so I just thought that was interesting. So I should perhaps know more information, Judith, before I say something like. But she was pretty adamant about it, and she's an expert in the field. So
I'm in Korea Peace now, and so I was on their lobbying week. And what's happening is the U.S. is increasing the war games every year. They have these giant exercises, they call them, where they really simulate a war, and they simulate taking down Kim Il-jung or whatever his name is, and now they've added possible nuclear attack on North Korea. That's what's going on. Plus the tension in the South China Sea over Taiwan, the whole Asian, it's called the Asian pivot. So they've taken a lot of the Armada, the US Armada over in that area. So it's a very tense and scary situation.
it provocates Northern Korea, who then send off missiles, test missiles in response.
I'd like to object to that. That's not, there's a lot more to that. And it's a complicated situation. Code Pink has a program called North Korea is Not Our Enemy. It was recorded. I recommend you watch it. It's a very complicated situation from North Korea. But among other things, the United States has stationed nuclear armed submarines in South Korean ports, which has not been done for a long time. It's a very provocative thing to do. So we need to look into it deeper. There is a tendency for people to act like North Korea is a rogue state. The real rogue state is Israel, that has secret nuclear weapons and is putting the whole world in danger. And demonizing North Korea is warmongering.
I don't think that the person was who just spoke, but maybe I'm
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I mean, they're warmongering.
Oh,
They're demonizing. I didn't say we were. God, no. I'm just saying this whole effort to demonize North Korea needs to be opposed and clarified. That's all.
okay.
So do you have a link, McGregor, to?
No, I'm in a motel room with a telephone. If you just look for it, you can find it.
Right.
Called North Korea is Not My Enemy.
Right.
Thank you. By the way, we've exceeded 2 minutes for this particular subject matter. I think 2 minutes is very inadequate.
Oh, well, okay, well, let's go
Great
on
to
then.
have the name of it, McGregor. Thanks.
Okay, so now we're on to approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any edits or changes? If not, they'll stand as Cheryl last sent them out.
Which was earlier today, which was a second revision based on a few people kindly reminding me what they said or what was said. And for example, I'm
sorry, I haven't had a chance to read them. I've been running for 2 days, barely got a chance to read some of the material that we're supposed to cover today here. Well, that's my sitting.
Right. So, for example, I wrote down something that Martha Spees said. And when I looked at it, I said, I really don't understand this. But she has not replied. So, okay. I don't think there's anything incorrect. It may be not so clear. But that's because of the way we all speak.
And sometimes,
right. And if she has something that she wants to do, we can still change the minutes.
It can be changed later, but I would like us to approve them right now.
Okay.
Robin is moving, we approve.
Fine, yeah.
Eileen is seconding. Any objections?
Okay, you really don't need to go through and vote on the minutes. If there are no changes, they stand as distributed. Yeah, so I presume there aren't any, are there any objections to the minutes? I don't think, that's what I was asking earlier. So, okay, they're approved.
Good.
Okay. Okay, hot topics, Gaza-Israel war. I was thinking of bringing a tent to the university near here, but I haven't done it. I mean, they're finally doing something at the college level, university level, and I'm so happy. But
which university is it?
Well, the one near me they aren't doing anything as far as I can tell. It's George Mason.
What is the name of the university near you is?
I said George Mason, but George Washington University, they're having a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, so
right.
Anyway.
So for example, Stanford University is currently having a demonstration this afternoon. It's what they call Admit Weekend, where they invite students who have been offered a place and their parents to come and check out the university, try to put their best face on, and they've been met with hundreds of demonstrators protesting Stanford's not making statements about the needing a ceasefire. And they had earlier in the year a long-standing, it went all all over Christmas, they had a sit-in in one of our big plazas, one of the big plazas anyway. So they are back, and the university is not arresting people, but I'm hoping you're all reading the news, because there are at least 8 universities out there that are making the news about demonstrations. And I say, you know, I'm glad to see that these young people are taking something to heart, because sometimes you wonder, you know, if they're not worried about anything. Robin.
Yeah, well, I wonder, is there any university that has come out officially in support of a ceasefire? I graduated, or well, I attended 3 years at Antioch College in Ohio, and I went to their website and they mentioned that students were demonstrating, but they didn't say that they, as a college, would support it. Wouldn't you think there would be some colleges that would support it?
Not according to my local newspaper, which is reporting what the New York Times is saying.
Mhm.
I hope you're all reading your newspapers, because everything is in there that you need to know about this.
Well, there were also, I saw a list of about 20 colleges and universities, maybe not right this minute, but that have been and are doing things. Not the
Right.
universities, I'm sorry, the students at the universities, and presumably some of the faculty too.
Right. So apparently the University of California is bound by some law that was passed in 2016 that says
Right.
they're not allowed to divest. Jerry Brown, our then governor, got a bill passed, and the University of California is, you know, is a state university. And so although the students are sitting in Sproul Plaza with their tents, asking the university to divest from companies that are helping the IDF, apparently the law prevents the university from divesting. So that's just happens to be at Berkeley, which is obviously the one that gets in the newspaper a lot. And then at Columbia, you've had people, they're sending in police and taking people by force. So I think we should support our student colleagues as best we can. Certainly, you know, my branch is out on the corner as always every Friday afternoon, asking for ceasefires in both Gaza and Ukraine. Anybody else actually been to their local university?
Mine is starting tomorrow. My at the University of Vermont, I'm going up there at 1 o'clock. They've put it off, but they're starting tomorrow, and for the whole week, and they're going to be teach-ins, and so some of us are hoping to play a role there and bring up the nuclear weapons issue.
Thank you. I think this is the best we can do at the moment, as Israel seems to be impervious to anybody and everybody's pleas to stop bombing and not to attack Rafah. I don't know if you saw, but somebody has built this very large tent city somewhere near Rafah. It looks like probably the Israelis have built it, and their intention is that 1 million people should leave Rafah. You remember Rafah was the place they were told to go to 6 months ago or so. So they're trying to get the civilians out of Rafah so that they can then go in and have a ground assault to find these Hamas people that they haven't found yet.
Who also could leave.
Yes. I mean, so you know, just read your local or your favorite newspaper or website, and you will see what's going on. And
Democracy Now.
Pardon, Robin?
Democracy Now is my favorite.
Yeah, we'll bring you up to date. So in the agenda, I put a link to a statement that McGregor first found by Veterans for Peace. I hope you all had a chance to at least glance at it.
Yes, I was hoping to bring this up, and we're having our usual vigil here in Newton, Mass, Newton Center, at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and New TV is coming to interview us. I am still working on this letter, which is pretty interesting. This law no one ever heard about is suddenly appealing. And I know that the US has not signed on many of the international laws, but this is a federal law. And it's an interesting approach to forcing our government to stop giving weapons and support of any sort to Israel, since they never signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. And since they have been acquiring, and the guess is between 90 and 2,000 nuclear heads. This is scary. And since Netanyahu threatened to use a nuclear weapon on Iran in 2023, I mean, they built a good case. But this law says that we're not allowed to do this. And at the very end in the sentence, they simply say, and if you don't stop providing this support within 3 days, we're going to take this to court, or may take this to court, I should say. They may take it to court.
Right.
Interesting letter. Bringing this up at New TV is going to be a challenge, because I do vigil, by the way, with one vet for peace, and he is demented, meaning he's not demented. He's deteriorating. His former teacher is a lovely man. He couldn't do this, so I really have to wrap up because I'm the timekeeper and I'm talking too long. Thank you.
So one last thing on Gaza, you'll see in the agenda, I mentioned this thing called the Freedom Flotilla, which has not been mentioned in the major media.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of ships parked in Turkey, which have people like Anne Wright, our own Anne Wright, and some other Code Pink people have helped to put thousands of tons of relief on these ships to sail from Turkey to the Mediterranean coast of Gaza. Okay, and they've been thwarted as usual by Israel, who've used some arcane law. One of the ship's flags is flagged in Guinea-Bissau, and they said Guinea-Bissau needed to agree that this cargo ship full of relief is allowed to go. And then so somebody twisted Guinea-Bissau's arm, and they said, oh no, we've changed our mind. We don't want that ship with our flag to go. So you can read about this in things like the alternative media, whose name I can't bring to mind, but this is very unfortunate, and this is not the first time that the people that Israel has managed to thwart these cargo ships full of relief, and then people like Ad Wright are there in Turkey, I presume it's near Istanbul, making sure that this will happen. So, yes, Robin.
Yeah, well, a wonderful person from Burlington area who now lives near Washington, probably Diane knows him, John Royer. He is a very eloquent person on the nuclear issue. He is there in Turkey. He's been sending emails and notices, and he sounds ecstatic in some ways about the energy that's coming from around the country. Malaysia has sent a big delegation. Turkey has hundreds of people who are part of a nonviolent organization in various towns in Turkey who are now coming to Istanbul to take part in this. So it's very moving for him and hopefully for us.
Right. So anyway, that's just one of the items that I've noticed completely ignored in the major media.
Well, it was on the front page of the Washington Post. They had a, which actually continued on inside. So it was a
Okay.
good article they had there. And Roots Action had this thing that you could fill out saying that you supported the university actions. I just wanted to say that I don't know who did that, but I did. And so Roots Action does a lot of great things.
Right.
So anyway, but the flotilla's stuck. I don't know. I hope they leave soon. That's for sure. Because okay. Let's see. So that was Gaza, Israel, and Ukraine. Ugh. $61 billion of weapons we're giving them.
Yep.
Yeah, and as I mentioned last meeting, the people who are actually fighting the war is saying this isn't the good way. We need a strategy to get out of this war because there's no winners. There's going
Right.
to be no winners.
Yeah. And Zelensky just fired the previous general who was in charge of all their military actions. Much to some people's dismay, he was a popular general, but Zelensky thinks he's not been doing a good job, so he has appointed somebody else. Again, you can read about this on the BBC News. I sent you an article, a letter that John Hallam, who is an Australian anti-nuclear weapons activist for many years, that he chose to write to, he wrote to Belarus, Putin, and Poland, saying, you know, enough already. If you're not careful, this is going to devolve into a nuclear war. I sent you that as a PDF. Goodness knows how much effect this has, but it shows you, you know, what we should be worried about.
Yeah.
And so, again, anything you can do to persuade your local representative, your congressional rep, to vote against these extra money and call for a ceasefire. Yes, Robin.
Give a gold star. Give a gold star to Vermont. All three of our congressional people, our two senators, our one, we only have one representative. They all voted against the spending.
Whoa, thank you, Vermont. Whoa.
Thank you, Vermont. So anyway, I think, yeah, Diane, we can move on to the next one.
Okay, diffuse nuclear war. And I think that this is specifically for McGregor, but anybody?
Right. Well, in particular, this effort to have people from California attend a daytime protest at the Vandenberg Space Force Base, June the 5th. Once a month, the Guadalupe Catholic workers have a demonstration out, you know, at the gate to the Space Force Base, and it's an opportunity for us to bring more people. McGregor has arranged that there be a man there who was born and bred in the Marshall Islands.
I can speak about it if you want.
Yes, thank you. Carry on.
Yeah, his name is QB Keju, and he's spoken at Vandenberg before, and he's willing to do it again. It's hard for Marshallese to speak about it because they just signed a new contract that gives the landlords and leaders a lot of money to continue using it as a target for these tests. So the official position of the Marshall Islands is that these tests are fine because they're just dummies. And Cheryl got to meet him and ask her question about, it was a very interesting conversation. So he's willing to come, which is wonderful. And he's going to, though, highlight the work of his sister, Darlene. Many of you familiar, participated in Women of the Nuclear Pacific. She was a leader. Her name is Darlene Keju Johnson, but I'll send you more about that later. So we're going to feature her, first of all, because they can't criticize her. She was criticizing the nuclear tests, which the government is fine with. That brings them money. They just don't want to criticize the current contract. Do you see the distinction?
No.
Yeah. It's like when we go to Lompoc, the local people mostly work for Vandenberg. It's a difficulty, and it puts people in a difficult position. So he's eloquent, and he'll speak of the history of the islands, and he'll make real the people that live there. And Judy Togallen, who's a Chumash sovereignaire, has also said she would be there. I don't know if it will happen. Lotus is going to try to help make sure she makes it there, because her car got totaled. But we'll see what happens and see what support. But to have the people who are at one end of the test and the people at it's telling the story of the people. For me, it's a dream come true.
Wow. That's so important. Thank you.
It is. And it's not that important that the number of people go. I think the fact that Cheryl is planning to go will represent WILF and be wonderful. I will be there, but I'll be coming up from Santa Barbara. We're having an event the night before for the local Santa Barbara people that don't come to Vandenberg, just to try to build connections. So I'll give you a more detailed report later, but there's Roots Action through Diffuse Nuclear War. It's working with us, and we'll be making a film version of the event with some of the things taped separately because of the noise at the center. And this will be part of the 24-hour world peace wave of World Beyond War. So the Vandenberg event will be the World Beyond War event for the 24-hour wave at the end of June. So there is a lot going on. All of this horror in Gaza, this little tiny piece of piecework is going very well as far as it can. We've got commitment from Leah's going to help film interview material with QB. We'll have this material to be on the Diffuse Nuclear Wars ICBM page, which if you're not familiar with, please try to become familiar. It's on Diffuse Nuclear War. It's being built out. I'm working with them very closely. It's a huge difference in the way we used to work. So I will send in a more detailed report, but June 5th, 3:45 at Vandenberg, and we'll meet afterwards at a nearby Denny's to be able to talk to each other, not as a presentation, but just to have some networking. There'll be no bus, but we're not
carpooling.
Well, there'll be no chartered bus.
Yes.
But there are buses that go there, since people have indicated they're willing to go on a bus, which they weren't before. But when it was a chartered bus, they were willing. So there are buses you can get there without driving, but you can drive if you want, because I know you all like to drive. So that's good. So thank you very much. It's going well.
Yeah, so this is all because they have not had a night launch yet this year. They've not announced a night launch. So we're pivoting to a daytime protest that happens at once a month anyway. So it seems like a good opportunity to get some publicity about all of this. So that's all I wanted to say about, and again, there's a link in the agenda to ideas of what you all could do during that June 10th to 16th week, which is essentially honoring Daniel Ellsberg.
Oh, yes.
So please go to look at that website. Robin?
Yeah, I mean, so McGregor, help me understand. They're testing the ICBMs and shooting them across the Pacific, but actually these are the weapons that are embedded in silos in all sorts of states in Western USA. Am I right?
Okay. They are in 3 Air Force Base that are responsible. There's Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota that has a bunch of missiles that it's responsible for. There's Maelstrom in Montana, up near the Canadian border. And then there's Warren Air Force Base that's at the junction of 3 states, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming.
And so why do they have to test them from you in California? Why are they doing that?
They say it's to ensure that they still work. They want to make sure that they are effective and, get this, safe. Their words, to ensure that they're safe and expected. For years, ever since the 70s, they take one, carry it across the country, put it in a test silo, and fire it to the Marshall Islands 4 times a year.
Wow.
Right. So they use up.
We should make it clear, Robin. I'm not sure from what you said that you know that these are these have something in them, but they're not actual weapons.
Well, they wait.
It's testing the missile,
Yeah.
and with a weight in it, as if there were a weapon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
McGregor?
Yes. They put in a dummy warhead to represent a hydrogen bomb. And recently they've been putting in 3 dummies. It's kind of a threat, because when the START treaty reduced number of nuclear weapons in the ICBMs sitting in silos all over the Midwest, what they did is they took 2 off each one. They used to have MIRVs, 3 on each one. So they took 2 off and counted that as a 2/3 reduction. But the ones they took off were basically put on whatever they call the shelf. So they're saying, and they're threatening, they're saying, we can put these back anytime we want. It's militarily useless. These are hydrogen bombs. 3, why? I mean, it's so ludicrous that if we could just get people to know it's happening, they would be against it. This is the easiest political work you've ever done.
Right.
It's horrible.
It is. And thank
So,
you. We have to go on. Time.
Thank you, Galen. Thank you, Eileen.
Okay.
So this is where
Okay.
we ask Judith to jump in now. And I see Ellen Thomas is here. She also wants to speak soon.
Okay, so Project Enduring Peace is just an incipient. It's in a baby phase right now, and things keep changing. The situation is pretty fluid. We're having to be flexible to find out exactly how it's going to work. The abbreviation we're using, by the way, is PEP, P-E-P, Project Enduring Peace. So we're talking about PEP. And it was originally, we were trying to find out what our platform could be to reach people with PEP. And we've settled on, believe it or not, using Instagram. And one of the reasons is because Instagram reaches a younger group of people. People over 50, for example, tend to be using Facebook. But Instagram is for people like from 25-ish to 50. And we think that that's a demographic that needs to be reached with the message that it is possible to update probably the Kellogg-Briand Treaty. We could update the Kellogg-Briand Treaty and get people to sign again and to make it inclusive of all the nations of the world. But if it isn't the Kellogg-Briand Treaty, then we can start from scratch and make a whole new treaty. But the times have changed since Kellogg-Briand. Times have changed since the United Nations, in fact. There are things that have happened, for example, instant global communication, so that we can monitor and inform each other of who's doing what and who's planning what. Tremendous monitoring of who's moving their military forces, where are they putting them, what kind of digital things might anybody be planning to do, a digital attack. These things are available now. And the other thing that is available that is new, there are lots of empowered women in the world now. Nothing like this would have existed back in the Kellogg-Briand days. It was all the men doing their thing. Our movement, PEP, is a women's organized movement. Will be led by women. The final decision makers, of course, we'll take advisors that are men or women or whoever, but the final decision makers on how the project should move will be women. And we are coordinating with another group that's even more ambitious than PEP. It's called the Founding Mothers Movement. It's also an incipient movement. It has one of the shared goals with us, which is getting a new peace treaty. And its other shared goal is very ambitious. They want to get an ERA, Equal Rights Amendment, for women in all the nations of the world. I'm pretty skeptical myself about how they're going to do that. But that is their goal. And since we share the thing of getting a peace treaty, I'm working with them. And so let me get back to what we are doing with PEP itself. I would guess that there's not one person here except for Diane now who is on Instagram. And are you on Instagram?
Now and then, yeah.
It's okay, Robin. How are you identified on Instagram? Just as Robin Lloyd?
Yeah, Robin Lloyd, I think it's 88, something like that.
I will try and find you and follow you.
Okay.
Because the way Instagram works is you have to find people and then you follow them and they learn, oh, Project Enduring Peace is following you. And then they will get back to you. Anyway, I'm trying to learn how to do this, to make content for PEP, to reach out to people, to follow them, hoping that they will then start following us. I guess what I would say doing right now is to try and get people to have an Instagram account. So I'm glad that you have one, Robin. I will reach out to you. And I think other than that, I don't have more news to report, just that we are committed now to Instagram and we are coordinating with something called Founding Mothers Movement, both of which are focused on, laser-like focused on getting a new peace treaty that will stop international wars, wasting money on nukes or standing armies or anything else that have to do with international war. Because if you can do an end run around them and get a treaty that says you can't use them, then we can start saving a lot of money and a lot of energy for other things that we need to do. So I will take any questions if that's appropriate. Yeah, Robin?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so was Project Enduring Peace in Connecticut earlier? Were you a Connecticut
Not that I know of.
Because it seemed to me I took Edith Ballantyne, our international president. She spoke at Project Enduring Peace in Connecticut maybe 30 years ago, and I videotaped her. But if it's not the same, it's some other, it's an organization with a similar name, or maybe I'm completely wrong. So sorry about that.
Or it may have gone out of business. A lot of organizations back, when I look through trying to find these organizations, I went on the internet to see how many peace organizations there were, peace activists, peace institutions, and I didn't come across another thing called Project Enduring Peace. So it may have gone defunct.
Oh, okay. I'll try to check it out myself.
Yeah,
Okay,
so Judith, it seems like you would like us to get an Instagram account. It seems it behooves us here in Disarm Committee to sign up for an Instagram account. Is it free?
Oh yeah, it's just hard and complicated. Ask Diane. Diane is working on this, of course, because she's with PEP, and she can tell you that it's a little complicated to get signed up and to learn how to deal with it. But the beauty would be that if, again, it's an algorithm that runs that thing. And the algorithm counts up how many people are following you, how many people have made a comment. And if we had all WILPF people following and making comments now and then, the word would spread faster. So yes, I'd love all WILPF members to have an Instagram account for PEP.
Okay, I have 170 followers. There you go.
There
On
you go.
Instagram, Robin Lloyd 88.
Just 88.
Yeah, you'll see my skunks.
Got it. Okay. And the picture you will see from me is not me, although we're making it my personal website because I couldn't get a lot of people to do content. Doing content is very time intensive. So we made it not a team thing. We're making it my particular website. But what you see is a lot of women holding up their hands, letting birds fly, peace doves. So you won't see my picture. You will see women and peace doves.
Right.
Great.
Okay, so please, everybody, make sure this is in the minute, Joan. We're all asked to try to get an Instagram free account and be prepared to follow Pet
Project Enduring.
and Robin and but bear in mind there are some people out there with like 2 million followers. Okay, so
yeah, we would like to get our intermediate goal is to get about 50,000 followers. And when we have 50,000 followers, we can go to the woman who's the director of UN Women at the United Nations, where we think is the best place to get this treaty started, or the updating of the treaty started, and tell her we have 50,000 followers, and we're just getting started, and we want the UN Women to take up this cause, but we have to get a lot of followers.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Judith, you gave us a rather complicated name for your account. Can we find it with your name, or do you need to let us know again what the name of your account is so we can connect with it?
Right. Project.
Yeah.
Enduring Peace.
Project Enduring Peace.
Correct.
Is the name of your account on Instagram?
No, my personal account is my name. But the way Instagram works is you get a name, a call name. They have a word for whatever you want to be called. And it doesn't have to be your real name. It can be whatever you want to be. So if you all get a personal account, you can put your personal name as, Robin 88 or Diane Blay or whatever. Or if you don't want to have your name out there, you can just say Eileen
5200.
Eileen Peacewoman. Her call name can be Eileen Peacewoman.
Right. Okay, I think we've spent enough time on this.
My email is Eileen for WILPF. That's me.
Right.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I think we should go on to the next item, which is pressing for disarmament, continuing to press for disarmament.
So
there were several items listed.
Yes. So just go watch that. Understand about this latest book by Annie Jacobson, where second by second she shows you how a nuclear war will unfold. And she's interviewed in that YouTube. And if you want to scare anybody into action, point them to that. Then we've done already the June 5th event. And I can tell you that the Nuclear Abolition Strategy Conference will happen next May the 4th, Saturday, that we will have myself, McGregor, and Ellen Thomas will be our reps. We have a lot of people from other organizations who are going to be there brainstorming on new strategies or strategies that people have tried and they reckon will work. We're trying to improve the nuclear abolition movement. Okay, that's the overall goal. It is, I think we have over 40 people registered now, including people like David Swanson and Joseph Gearson and people who have been working on this topic for many years. So I think Ellen would like to speak next. She's joined us from Florida. Ellen, you have some good news?
Hopefully it'll work. As you can see, I'm in the dark here. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I got an email from Jerry Condon of Veterans for Peace. I just saw it this morning. And Veterans for Peace has decided to go full bore ahead on Eleanor Holmes Norton's bill. They feel like it's stronger and than Back from the Brink, and people are welcome to do Back from the Brink, but they are going to seriously focus on it. And in June, I forget what the dates are. In the middle of June, there's going to be something that they're going to join up with. And I think that I think I forwarded Jerry Condon's email to the Disarm list in the next. Okay, well, then I will do that immediately. And that's all I have to say, except I just think that's really great. Great to hear, because every bit of help we can get with Norton's bill is so important.
Right. So, and Jerry Condon is the overall president of Veterans for Peace?
I don't know if he still is. He was, for sure. He's head of the Nuclear Abolition Working Group.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a new president of Veterans for Peace. I just read. So, but Jerry Condon was president a while ago. There's been Mike Farrell is leaving. So,
yeah, before that, yeah, he's been part of the Golden Rule.
Yes.
Campaign. Yeah. And
right.
He chairs the Nuclear Abolition Working Group.
Okay.
And we have representatives on that. I'm supposed to be there every time, but I seem to miss it a lot. So I'm really glad that he sends us reports, and you can sign up for it.
Ellen, this is McGregor. I attended the last one.
Great. Thank you.
So yes, so this is good news, and the rest of you will see in the agenda this Action Network sample letter, which you can still send. Helps you send a letter to your congressperson asking them to become a co-sponsor of the bill. That is still there. You know, the election, we still have another 8 months of this year to move this forward. Just because everybody's talking about the elections in November, don't think we should drop everything else we're trying to do. Okay, so we're up to reports on actions within our various coalitions.
right.
I didn't put anything there. There was a bunch of stuff in our last meeting that's in the minutes, things that are happening. And Warheads to Windmills continues to soldier on. Some of us attend their planning meetings, and they will be they had Timon turns up and does book events.
Okay, I'll try to call you back. Yeah, bye-bye.
So anybody else in particular wants to talk about a coalition that we haven't mentioned yet that's important to talk about? Okay.
Do you want me to talk about Alliance for Nuclear Accountability?
Not yet. You're later on in the agenda.
Oh, all right.
So we're up to Gloria.
Yep.
Democratic Socialists of America. That's our group in town. We don't have any of the other groups active in Burlington.
Okay, are we up to me? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. All right. I'm gonna try it now. Go back to slide number 1. What?
Are you trying to share your screen?
I am attempting to share my screen as we speak. But while it's opening, and I hope it does open, I'm seeing a black screen right now. That's what
I'm not seeing anything. You should be able to share
here we
your screen.
go.
Here, it's coming up.
Let's see. Can you see the boy and his drone?
Not yet.
Okay, it should be up. I'm going to go back into Zoom meeting and see. I think I'm in the meeting and I'm seeing it, but Oh, come on. There, I think it's doing its, please move this away from the shared window. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, I'll zip right through that. This is the illustration title for the flyer. It's the illustration on the first page, which I'm now showing you. And I want you to note this, Peggy Dobbins moves that we approve this leaflet with amendments or changes or whatever. So on the first page, what we have here is a flyer to put in people's hands, whether parents, relatives, or friends of engineering students. We are going to get this thing out, and I would like to get it onto that other website that McGregor mentioned, Diffuse Nuclear War or whatever. This gives on the back page, you can see it, the names of companies, and we can add more to that. The middle pages are the view from inside, how it alters your mind and who you can even associate with, and how it will change your attitude about people who may want peace, because there is a discourse community at these missile plants. And in order to keep their sanity and keep making these things, they have to be dismissive of those crazies. So you have to note that. We have been doing this for 40 years here in Tucson, believe me, and I've been involved in a lot of those years, going, and not all the time, but on occasion, going to the base, going to the missile plant. Those people are already hardened. They're already getting their corn pone and their salary. That was Mark Twain's term. So you're not going to convince them, folks, by standing on corners next to the missile plant. Take my word on that one. The hidden costs of war work are, you can't go where you want to go, what a security clearance changes, where you can travel, and your social life. They may even think, we may add more verbiage about, think of girlfriends, you can't have a security risk one. So any questions on the flyer?
Yes, Gloria, I can see several places where I would make some changes. I've not had time to do that. You've finally sent me the Word document so I could edit it. And I think making it clearer what the purpose is, I think it's a bit too circumspect at the moment.
Okay.
But the idea is fine. The idea
okay,
is that
but we don't want to table it. We would like to know if it's able to be approved with changes, with revisions.
Well, I think, you sent us some PNGs that were difficult to look at.
That's beside the point, though. I mean, now you see it. Everybody has just seen it, and you do have a version that is editable. I will let you make whatever changes you think are important, but the important thing is to get it not tabled. There are so many different things going on in this community that I don't want it to be sidetracked.
Right. Okay. So does anybody have any objections to Gloria and I continuing to work on this? It'll become a two-fold leaflet that will be available for people to hand out at your local university, where you can hopefully arrange to attend a public lecture by the engineering department. So you'll be able to approach young people who are looking to find a job when they graduate. And the point is to defer them from thinking that the defense industry is the only place to go. Now, here in the Silicon Valley, we have lots of different places, and not everybody thinks only of defense. But apparently in Tucson, the undergraduates there are not very imaginative and don't know.
No, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to dismiss them that way. I just think that there's so much deluge of publicity from Raytheon.
Right.
I think they're very imaginative, and there's nothing wrong with the students. And Peggy said that she was not limiting hers just to people affiliated with engineers, but possibly just friends, giving them out to anybody, because you don't know who has a friend or a relative who might be at that stage.
Right.
I have a question on the previous page. There is something about Peggy and what she wants, maybe a motion she wants to make if she were here.
Yes, she just sent me an email.
Okay, so there we go. She moves that we approve this leaflet. Okay.
Well, with amendments.
For the notes. Yeah.
And it would eventually have a WILPF logo on it to identify it as coming from WILPF.
Right.
So I think this is a fine idea, and I'm willing to help do some editing. I think the photograph of the young person kind of being sucked up by a drone is a good eye-catching design. Have we permission to use that, Gloria?
I created it in
You
an
created
AI program, not AI, but an image generating program, and they are copyright free.
Excellent, excellent. So
I think we should put this up on the website.
eventually, it's not ready to be put up on any website
Not
at the
ready
moment.
for prime time, as we say.
Right, right. So I move that we approve the further editing of this 2-page leaflet, and that when it's ready, we will make sure it's distributed widely so that WILF members can use it, especially if you have contacts at your local university.
Yes, I support it and thank you. It's a wonderful idea. The sooner the better it's done because the end of the year is coming up in May.
That's right. Yeah.
And students will be thinking about what are they going to do next.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm moving on fast because I know you're very limited in time. I'm going to show you Katie Kolitis, and she is the one who's speaking from the Greektown community that used to work with Jane Addams in the 1890s, folks. And I'm going to show, she's the one, and she's really good. I had a long conversation with her and Mary Beth, and she knows all kinds about the peace workers all the way back to the 1890s. She's at the National Hellenic Museum, and here is a poster that I just came up with for this event, and I wanted to premiere it here so you could see it.
So this
I don't
is
want to take any more time, but we'll be pushing this out somewhere.
Yeah,
so this is a WILF Chicago event. Remember, Gloria is helping to reinvent and resuscitate the Chicago WILF branch.
The flagship original branch, folks, with all the archives and everything they did at Hull House.
Right.
Which has been lost, I say, to us. I hate to wax passionate here, but do you know what has been lost? This is giving you a small view, and that made national news across the country. 30, 40 different articles I've already found about that tour, and we're really happy if we get one or two. So just keep in mind, this was big.
And so when you have a registration, this is just next Saturday, Gloria. So are you sending the registration to WILF branches?
I hope people read what Mary Beth puts out, because she sent out to all the branches, and I can forward it to you again, Cheryl. That was a whole thing picturing Katie Kolitis, and you know, it's the one that's in our Facebook page, and that gives you the Tiny Earl registration link.
Facebook is not enough. You think it went to WILF branches coming from Mary Beth? Does anybody else remember seeing it?
I think she's put out twice now about it. It should be getting a lot of play. You know, she doesn't like to put things out too early, but it's not too early. It's getting down to the wire.
Right.
But she's very distracted with her money madness thing. Right. So I will send it to Cheryl, the one that Mary Beth put out, and then maybe Cheryl, you can make sure at least everybody in Disarm gets it.
Yeah. So can anybody remember seeing about this next Saturday?
I saw it.
Okay. All right. So
the lady looks like she's cross-eyed, but anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, I generated her, and I did fix her eyes in one of them.
Okay.
Just ignore that.
Oh, you're a surgeon too. Oh, this is cool.
Okay, well, stop sharing them.
Thank you. So the previous event that WILF Chicago put on was very interesting. So I'm sure this will also be interesting. And it's to try to get more people who live around the WILF members who live around the Chicago area to join that branch.
Mm-hmm. And the theme is immigrants then and now. And we do have an African immigrant who's going to be with us. Johannes Favi, who's from Benin. He's going to speak about being an immigrant in Chicago.
I see Pam's hand.
Well, I'm in Milwaukee and our WILP is, I don't know, it's kind of defunct. We don't even have a branch anymore. We dissolved. Although we still identify as WILP, also the few members that are left, but maybe we can reincorporate with Chicago. It would be the
You
greater
might be
Chicago.
able to join both, you know, be co-member in both. You could
Well,
work
there
that
is
out.
no more Milwaukee WILP.
Oh, okay. Well, then come on down. Come on down.
Yeah, yeah.
You're very welcome. We would love to have you, even though I'm speaking from Arizona, you realize, but you know how that is.
But you're back and forth, right?
Not physically. Actually, I am going on the 28th through the 6th, but that's for Children of Steel, the book of short fiction written by 20 people who grew up in steel mill towns. We have 3 book launches on that, so. But I might meet with some of the local WILFers, you know, have a pop-up meeting at the Greek restaurant because it's only about 5 blocks away from Hull House.
Well,
Called
that's
Greek Islands.
virtual meetings. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
We have emails. We have each
We would
other's.
like, yeah, we would like to help you resuscitate your branch. Is it that people have died?
It aged
Yeah,
out
when
like
Rose-
many
Rose
branches,
Dixon died.
Tucson, all of them, many of them are having this problem. And I think what it was, that it's so horrendous that Chicago's branch was allowed to go defunct because all the archives and the terrible things that you don't quite get what Jane Addams is doing was doing and Hull House and how it grew into the Women's Peace Party without all these. It's like a puzzle missing a lot of pieces that are only existing there in Chicago. So that's why it's such an important branch to get back up and running. And I think what happened is the neighborhood changed, as they say, and these were people who couldn't handle that too well, and they didn't reach out to Blacks and Hispanics the way they should have. That's and then they got old, and then their kids packed them off to Winnetka or somewhere.
Okay, let's go on.
Okay.
So you're next, Eileen, with laws.
Oh, that won't take long. I have nothing to report.
Okay.
I do have something to report though.
Oh, okay.
So this morning I got a WhatsApp from Rosa Logar from WILPF Austria, who we met at the TPNW meeting last year in New York City, who's very good in keeping in touch. And I'll put in the, let me just read what I saved from her. So apparently there was a civil society forum on autonomous weapons in Vienna today.
Ooh.
She sent the link to a streaming at 6 o'clock my time AM. So of course it was done by the time I found the WhatsApp. So there was a panel called Feminist Perspectives on Countering Bias, Dehumanization and Automated Killing. And this was one of several panels at this civil society forum on autonomous weapons. And Jennifer Menninger from the WILPF Germany also spoke. And then apparently there was 10, 15 WILPFers from Spain who went to this meeting in Vienna, and they sent a nice group photograph of them at the meeting in Vienna. So just to say that European sisters are very active in this topic of autonomous weapons, and there is not a YouTube I can put you towards. I'm hoping that eventually maybe they will write up something on their feminist perspectives on countering bias, dehumanization, and automated killing. So just to let you know, a lady called Rosa Logar from WILPF Austria is very good in sending me, but she uses WhatsApp, which makes it more difficult for me to send it on to you all. but there are lots of people working against autonomous weapons.
Yeah,
see.
I was aware that there was something going on in Europe for sure, but I have not gotten any links. I'm glad someone thought of sending it to you as representative for Disarm.
Right. Unfortunately, you know, much too early in the morning for me to actually attend. Gloria, you have your hand up?
Yes, I think this is another instance where a communications person can come in and maybe be helpful. You know, it's all fine to be denouncing these things and trying to work with your legal legislative bodies, but why not put the leaflet in their hands and let them go around to their colleges and to their friends and dissuade people from working in those industries, that there are peaceful things they can do over there too.
Yes, I'm sure once
Could I
we have
get that? Could you forward that to the woman from Germany that you're in communications with? Once we get it
she's,
finalized, I mean.
yes, she's in Austria, and
Yeah, oh, in Austria,
indeed we
right.
can
Right.
suggest that it be used in Europe.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I know that Reaching Critical Will also pays attention to autonomous weapons. I haven't looked at their latest newsletter, but they also keep track and have commentary on autonomous weapons that could be used to kill people. Excuse me. So that's my addition to the item 5 laws.
Thank you.
And there's going to be an international call on May 7th, right?
Remind us.
I think I have a feeling it's at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So maybe we could send it out through an international call.
An international call on what?
A WILF international call. I don't know what it's on.
They have one every month or so.
Yes,
which
they
we're
are
all
having
invited to.
Okay, and this is at a reasonable time. As long as it's not on a Monday, 4 o'clock will work for me.
Yeah, I'll try to find information about it. I can maybe send it out just if you wanted to know.
Yes, if you've registered with the International WILF to receive their emails, which you have to do special to get them, then you will have received regularly. You get a newsletter from WILF International, and you will also get invited to these Come Everybody online webinar meetings. Okay,
It's called My WILPF.
My WILF, yes.
Yeah, I signed up. I'm not getting everything. I just, in general, it's been a weird thing. I'll try.
Right.
I don't remember getting it either. But I haven't looked at everything I've gotten, so.
Right.
I think you have to look for it. They don't send it to you, maybe.
They do. They do.
My stuff hides though, Robin. I do have to look for it. Now that I know something's coming up, I will put it in. I have a special system. I'll put it in my system to look for it when the time's coming near.
Okay, so I guess that's it for laws, and then promote peace via treaties. Report on Law Not War meeting on 16th of April.
Yes. So you and I both attended that meeting. And okay, so Ellen has found something about the global call about advocacy at WILF, which is looking towards the Commission on the Status of Women in number 69. And they want constructive reflections on advocacy at WILF. If you will all look at your screen. And we are looking, you scroll down a bit, please. So there's a coming up commission. There's this thing called Summit of the Future, which is a big UN meeting that WILF US missed the opportunity to make a proposal, but I believe WILF International has made some input into this. So there's the information. Ellen received this on the 24th of April at 10 a.m. her time. So I recommend you all go look.
I'm going to send it to the WILF discussion list right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I have attended many of these events, often at unusually early for me. So this is nice. To be 4 o'clock in New York means it's 1 o'clock here in California. So that's great. So Diane and I attended this Law Not War, where they had speakers, very knowledgeable lawyers, telling us about how the International Court of Justice has been used in the recent past to try to deal with conflicts, and their push is to solve conflicts by using international United Nations organizations such as the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court. And the UN has many agencies that try to deal with conflict at various levels. So we are signed up as a partner in that. And so I receive invitations to attend those meetings. And I think sometimes we let you all know about them. You're all welcome to attend. They're very good. They try to have them often happen twice. So depending where in the world you are, you can find it in your own time zone at a convenient time. Yes, Robin.
Well, is it true or not? Maybe it's not true that only Black people are called in front of the International Criminal Court? Or is that a...
I've not heard that statement.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, David. I've heard that before, that basically it's the southern countries and not any northern countries that have been called before. I think that's also International Court of what is it? The ICC, Criminal Court. Particularly, it's been Africans who they've gone after, and not people, from Europe and the United
George
States,
Bush,
etc.
like George Bush should be brought before that trial, that court.
Right, there are
Right.
arguments that, so again, yes, Philip.
Philip?
You need unmute yourself.
The International Criminal Court really doesn't discriminate. It doesn't focus on Black people. The Balkans have been really a center of people who have been indicted and brought before that court. And so various, people from that region, from Turkey to, I guess Uzbekistan and those type of countries have been brought before the International Criminal Court, especially in the Bosnia conflict. Probably the most prominent people who have been brought before the court.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
thank
you. Is it, Philip, tend to be individuals rather than countries that are brought?
Yes, primarily what I've been a witness to has been individuals who have been party to bureaucratic apparatuses that have been committing war crimes in the North African continent. Primarily, it's been people who have participated in genocidal activities.
Okay. Whereas the International Court of Justice, I think, tends to deal more with countries.
It is countries, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In any event, it's something we should be aware of what's happening and learn how this works, because it all comes back to treaties and different ways of solving conflicts rather than actually fighting about it. So Diane and I will keep you up to date on that.
I just brought up this thing that says all 44 people indicted by the court have been Africans. So that sounds to me like it's favoring Africans.
That's the ICC.
Anyway, okay. ICC, yeah. Okay, let's go on to collaborate with both sections in Africa. Robin?
Well, we are holding Africa Day next on the 11th of May, and so I'm getting in touch with the different sections to see if they can zoom in and join us.
Oh,
We have a nice banner now.
Different sections, you mean different WILPF sections?
Yeah, yeah. And see what they're doing in terms of Africa Day there, and the Pan-African Congress that is happening in October in Togo. I think it's still happening. It's the 9th Pan-African Congress that has happened since the beginning of this last century.
Which day is your Africa Day in Burlington?
Yeah, May 11th.
And is it only in person, or is there going to be an opportunity?
Yes, I think we will have it zoomed in. We will have Zoom option.
So you will let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Can you while we have you, Robin, it says in the minutes, I try to represent what you said last meeting about your gathering. I said at a farm. I don't know if that's correct. Could you repeat your invitation to people to come to Vermont in August?
Oh, okay, yeah, that I will be at the Wing Farm for the second week in August, and would welcome anyone who wants to visit. I'm not really planning an agenda, at least at the moment, but I hope something will happen.
And it's called Wing Farm.
Yes.
And it has sleeping arrangements?
Yes, and it's $25 a night, room and board.
And it's a wonderful spot.
you bet.
You can even go skinny dipping if you want to.
Yeah. We have some good photos, but those are X-rated.
Okay.
You're silly.
So thank you for reminding us about that generous invitation. I think this has happened over many years, right?
Yes, from the year 2000. So that's, wow, 23 years. And I mentioned it to someone before the board meeting yesterday, that if they wanted to have a board retreat, they should feel welcome to come to Wing Farm. In fact, Wing Farm would pay their room and board. They would just have to transport themselves there. But as I understand it, the decision has been to do it by Zoom, but I really question whether you can have a meaningful retreat by Zoom. But
me too.
Maybe Philip knows different.
Okay, I guess we'll go on to the next thing, which is No to NATO and the Peace Walk, which is starting.
I was going to respond
ahead,
to Robin. As of now, the the retreat is how it's going to happen is up in the air. So in order to actually start planning virtually, but I agree with Robin. It's not much of a retreat when you're in your living room and everybody else is across the country. So we'll see.
So
Okay, so
what you're thinking about it, coming to Wing Farm?
That has not been discussed, but I will bring it up to people on the board if we casually speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
So Diane, I noticed you skipped over because Nancy isn't here. I did write to her special and asked her if she could possibly attend, even if she came late, but I don't see her at the moment. And I don't
Right.
see Odile.
Right.
All right, so we're skipping to 8C, no to NATO.
And I can only report that I attended their last organizing meeting. Martha sent me the link, and I officially am on the list. And I managed to connect with 2 people in Massachusetts that are saying that they we're going to run the route or plan the route. That was over 8 days ago, and I have not heard from them because I have volunteered to help. It's a bit frustrating. Those are the only 2 people from Massachusetts that really spoke up. And I said, hey, I have a lot of energy. I can make room. I can help out. And I got the impression I was going to get a call. I didn't even get a decent message updating me on what's cooking. I'm not very pleased with the organizing here in Massachusetts.
You're talking about the walk.
I am.
Right.
Yeah.
The topic is.
Yeah, so I think, it's still some time till they would be going through mass. So I would not give up.
Not much
It doesn't work. If you really want to organize lodging, meeting places, they seem to have something planned for a community church, which at least that's on the schedule. There might be a one stop that will gather people like Mass Peace Action and WILPF. And other, in our case, we've got a couple of other organizations that might jump aboard. And that's all. At least the Vets for Peace who aren't walking may even show up at this event. I don't know what to say. I'm not getting any connections, and that's frustrating because I don't do well that last minute.
Right.
Organize well in advance and feel like if something goes awry, we can correct it and, make things still happen. But anyway, you're catching my despair on this one. I don't think we're going to have much of anything here.
Okay. So unfortunately, I see that Martha has left the meeting. I was hoping to hear from her from the main point of view.
And
Yeah.
she told us she's not participating.
I have to leave. It's just nice to hear your voices.
She's not participating.
In the march at all?
Right. That's, she said that last time. And then, as I said, they passed my name and the link so that I can attend instead of her. I think she may have experienced something similar to what I just shared.
All right. But you did attend at least one planning meeting.
Yeah, and they have my name and they know that I've been trying for 2 months to get aboard on this. And I think the organizers are doing the best they can, but it's the localized folks it's a problem.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for trying. So No to NATO is going ahead. There are websites. It has a website that I omitted to put in the chat, in the agenda, but it's in the minutes.
Yeah,
And
it's going full blast ahead. They have too many people wanting to speak now on Saturday. So now they're trying to say, well, anyway, but it's definitely very much a go. And there was a webinar, was it yesterday, about Latin American people with NATO. And so it was all in Spanish by the presenters, but then Ellen Mass evidently helped organize it with Packing Wayland of Code Pink. And so there were questions asked in English. But anyway, so this Global Women United for Peace Against NATO, I think, put it on too. That was that they put that webinar on. But anyway, it's going full blast, it seems, and they're having meetings now every 2 weeks. And so it's going to be at George Washington University on Saturday and then Lafayette Square on Sunday. So I hope people come to it.
So I just put in the chat the sign up, where you can sign up to attend. Now, for some reason, Alice Slater sent this out, and I tried to go there afresh, but if you go there, as I put it, you will probably see, oh, hello, Alice, glad to see you again. We know you live in this zip code. So if you do sign up, it's as little as $5 if you want to attend, and they will give you lunch. Everybody gets lunch on the Saturday. I was intending to go, but now my husband is facing open heart surgery for a condition they just realized he has. And that would be around that time. And he, recovery from open heart surgery takes a long time. Yep. So it looks like I will not be going to DC in July. But Diane, if I do, if his surgery is put off or something else happens, I would like to go to this event. So just to say, we need, the point is that on the Monday, the NATO itself has its big 75th anniversary shindig in DC, and the idea is for us. And we're one of the sponsors. If you go to that website, you will see we're listed as a top level sponsor. We sent them a bunch of money. So we would like a presence there. And Diane, maybe you would be, are you in touch with the DMV branch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So at least they're local. They could turn up to some of this.
I hope so. I have a great response with them to do peace stuff. But anyway, we'll see.
Right. So this is July. We have some time till we get to July. Anybody else who thinking they might make the trek to Washington, D.C. for this weekend?
Well, Mary Jane Williams, who is in Disarm, she says she doesn't come to many meetings. She wrote me about coming and staying here. So she might. Okay. With her daughter and grandson. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes. I mean, as we get closer, we see who's going, we'll make sure everybody can find each other, turn up with some banners that identify us as usual, as WILPF people.
Right. Okay, so the Congress is the next item.
Right. Again, I had.
Well, have you seen the notice of the Congress and the alert? Have you looked at the website?
Hoped that Nancy would be here I have registered. I paid my $55. I hope everybody else is doing that. Is there a website now?
I think there is. I think Lynn was supposed to start it. It's not completed, but I think there's some bare bones. Let me see if I can find it though. Ha ha
So
ha.
you will all have received this postcard in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
Okay. The early rate is only for a couple more weeks, and I'm sure they would appreciate us.
40 people have already signed up.
Registering sooner than later. Disarm, how many?
40?
40, okay.
Yeah, that's really wonderful to hear. We would like definitely over 60 or 70, and ideally it'd be wonderful to have 100. It's virtual, you know?
Right. And Disarm, we have a proposal in which I assume has been accepted to have this workshop about conflicts over water. We've
Yes.
discussed it with you all before.
Yeah, that's on the program, as is my
And so I would
bottled
like,
water. Mhm.
So who is going to do that?
It basically is Peter Glick's 15 to 12-minute clip, and we're going to talk a little bit. Cheryl and I will talk a little bit about the clip after that's over. You know, maybe a little bit of question and answering.
right, and how to avoid conflict over water in the future. He has some good ideas, and so that disarms. But I haven't been told exactly where we'll be in the agenda yet. Eileen, when is the agenda going to be sent out?
We're working on that now, and if I have a little bit of time, I can tell you where we will be. And right now, my desktop is really too cluttered to find it. So give me, you know, just continue on and I'll come up with the answer in a little bit.
So I also made a proposal from my branch. Branches were invited to suggest, and I suggested a poster, which we are going to do about the San Francisco Bay, which is the largest natural harbor in the US and has suffered the last 160 years from human encroachment in various ways. And so I will be making a poster about that. Remains, I'm waiting to hear how posters will actually be shown. And then I understand there'll be some time where I will have to speak to the poster. And so all these logistical details I'm waiting to hear from the Congress committee. Robin, you have your hand up.
Yeah, the Advancing Human Rights is holding 2 workshops on Thursday and Friday, as I understand it, for trainings in racial justice. This will be led by George Friday, and she is requesting that the different branches that can take part, and they have a list of people they want to have take part. At least 2 white people have to come from each branch that is participating, and this is like an ongoing thing. It's those 2 sessions, but then it's a commitment to bring it back to your branch. And so what does racial justice have to do with water? Well, all the people that are most prejudiced against in America came here across water. It's called the Middle Passage across the Atlantic Ocean. So maybe that's the connection here.
I'm sure things are more difficult in poorer areas and in not integrated areas of the towns, et cetera, cities.
So was there an e-alert about this where we were asked to consider these trainings?
You
about
talking, Robin?
these trainings?
Yes,
Any of you?
George Friday, they have been listing the women who have been taking part from a certain number of branches. I think maybe Eileen and Joan, are your branches involved in this training? And maybe also, I think maybe also Gloria.
Mhm. Yes,
So,
we're
you all
getting it
know what I'm
together.
talking about?
I
Yes.
have not heard about it. I'm
This
glad
is-
to hear about it.
This
Okay,
is
but are
being,
you bringing some people from your branch to take part in the trainings? I mean,
Sounds
I
good.
mean, look at it. We still are very, very much a white organization. We do have some work to do here. And I'm going to take part. I'm browbeating my women in my branch. I met one today. We went to hear Isabel Wilkinson speak about caste. And I said, will you join some workshops? And she said, no, I'm too busy.
Ah,
I have a comment from Tucson, and I think sometimes they can parlay. I tried to bring this up, but things were being very tight in terms of time, so I couldn't fully discuss it. But in Tucson, the big minority or BIPOC group is Hispanics, Mexicans. And some of our people would say things like, well, why aren't we looking at what's being done to Hispanics? And we're working on that all the time. But that doesn't, just because you're working on that a lot, doesn't mean that you get to opt out on. We only have 5% African Americans here in Tucson.
But I mean, isn't, to my mind, all racial discrimination, whether it's black, white, brown, or
Okay, but my point is it's a rhetorical strategy to avoid getting involved in the training. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's by saying I'm already so busy with what's happening to Hispanics and border issues. I'm booked up. So you have to watch out for that and try to come up with a rhetorical response when people use this as a plan not to do it. And they already used it in our group. So I'm well aware of their little strategies. What are you gonna do?
ooh, boy.
I'm trying to look in my email to see if we got a WILF branches or an e-alert on this very topic. And so I haven't yet found it.
Something went out about it. I think it was in the alert. But it wasn't clear. It didn't say who was doing it. It in my as the way I remember it.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
George Friday.
Right, but it wasn't actually signed by her. So anyway, please, everybody look for e-alerts. Every e-alert we get is important and usually needs some response from us.
Okay, well, I will definitely check, and if I don't see anything, I'll bring it up to George Friday.
Good idea.
Right. So there will be a program committee meeting this coming Tuesday. The program committee is constituted of all the chairs of all the issue committees. So I always attend them. Diane attends them when she can, and Ellen too, on behalf of Disarm. So we find out what's going on with the other committees.
And that must be led by
George
Friday, because she's head of the
program. She's the program chair. Yes. So anyway, I encourage you all, to pony up your $55, which is really a good deal for hours and hours of programming that will be interesting and informative, and you can have your own input into how WILF US will be in the future.
And one other thing, if you have come from one of those wealthy branches, you can offer to pay for, say, 2 or 3 of your board members to cover the cost of the $55. Like
Yep.
want you really to come, and we will take care of the expenses.
Right.
So we're doing
Right.
that for 3 people.
I just have a question about the last a special board meeting. Was there any bringing up of the topic of having the people who work on the Congress being allowed to go to the Congress with no charge or discount?
Oh, yeah.
And the
Oh,
decision,
yeah.
and the decision was?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I was babysitting when I was listening, but I know it was on the agenda and it was brought up, but I don't know the decisions about it. So,
Okay.
I'm surprised that this is not, that the board meeting is not taped. But it is, I assumed, documented, it is reported, or is written down, but it's not taped. Is that right?
It
Well,
is recorded and the
is taped,
secretary
but
is writing up the notes. She
it
was
isn't sent out to people. Only taped for the secretary.
Oh. Not
Yeah,
even,
she was a little behind. She's in my branch and having major computer problems. How's that?
okay, but those of
I
us,
sent her the link to the recording,
who,
the secretary.
Ginger,
can you
Uh-huh.
send it to anyone?
she'll get it done. I know she's very responsible.
But Robin, you're saying you would like to listen to it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. So
I'll put
that's,
the link in right now.
Ask Ginger. And
well,
No, I-
Ellen.
Ellen is the one who does it.
yeah,
So
but is it
unfortunately-
okayed? I'm assuming it is, but I just maybe I should stay out of this.
it's
Yeah.
It's not going to be published. I'm just going to share it with Robin right now.
okay.
Fine.
I'll put it in the
I
chat.
won't.
If
I
any
won't
of you
say
wanna
anything
watch it,
further. Okay.
Okay, so unfortunately, Philip is not with us anymore, who is on the board, and he might have been able to tell us more about that particular decision. So the question was whether people who had been involved with the organizing would not pay the $55.
Yeah, I'm on the committee and I've worked really hard. But I would, if I pay for it, it's part of, it would be for somebody else, basically. I'd like to put in the 55 with the intention it let somebody else go.
Mhm. Okay,
I don't get it. What, you want to go?
you will
No,
go.
I would go for free, but I would still pay $55 for
Oh,
somebody
I
else.
see. If
sponsor
if it
some.
was approved, I'm not sure.
Exactly.
I'm not sure where it
And
was.
it-
Yeah.
That was
And I-
my
I
plan.
think the reason that they brought this up was because some of the people in the planning group are not as well off as some of us. I think that's what the concern was, but I could be wrong.
I think you're very right.
It's a shame that people cannot afford $55.
It is. It is. Let's move on because it's getting late and we're. What?
Okay, so the next one is the ANA, and I guess it's Pam. Yeah, Pam. If she's still here, I see she's
I'm here.
okay.
It's just hard holding the phone all the time. Okay, so
Oh, yeah, okay.
Alliance for Nuclear Accountability is coming in 3 weeks, and there's 50 people registered, and people are working on workshops, and we had some young people helping us organize, and we decided that we wanted to have scholarships. So we had $10,000 in scholarships that we handed out. So now we have 23 new attendees, and most of them are young people. There's Native American people from tribes, and who are affected, mostly from the Southwest, affected by the uranium mining and testing things. So we're very excited, and I will give a report back after I come back.
Right. Well, this
Okay,
is one
that's
of the things I might have done if my husband hadn't come up with his heart problem.
Oh,
But you essentially are our WILF representative to the whole
I will.
process.
I'll be double representing. In fact, I just double represented. I was on a meeting with Friends Committee on National Legislation, and their topic is unfunded priorities. Well, I kind of took a little advantage of that and started talking about military spending and how they don't need more money and how much money is being spent and anyway, but I did say it was with WILP too, so I'm trying to do that more.
Thank you for turning up. I hope all of you will do that. If you do attend a webinar, you'll do like I do. You see my name on my little window. I put WILF US after my name so that people know who I'm representing. This is a way of getting our name out there and people realizing that we are still an active organization. So that's $120 fee. And again,
for the spring meeting, yeah.
But
Yeah,
you get
I'll be there lobbying too. I'm gonna be there.
right. There's 3 days of lobbying, 2 days of meeting, and Ellen has been to many of those and tells us how invigorating these meetings are. So divesting. Again, I just give you a latest report there from back from the brink and ICANN that companies are paying attention and funds are stopping investing in certain weapons manufacturers. And if you look at that report, you will see exactly how much money has not being invested and things like that. Has anybody, Adele is not here, has anybody had any time to do anything in particular about this? I know I haven't. Being sick for 2 weeks has really put me behind.
Well, I just got a call last week from somebody in Physicians for Social Responsibility in Madison, and they have passed a back from the brink, and they went full throttle. They have a divestment component to that, which we got a back from the brink resolution passed in our County Board of Supervisors a couple of years ago. But now we're going to try to go for the city, and we are going to try to get a divestment component in that. So I'll be working on the back from the brink resolution for the city of Milwaukee in the coming weeks.
Thank you. This is one of the strategies is to dig down to the grassroots, because most cities have an investment portfolio that they have put in various funds over the years, and most of the councillors have no idea where the money, what's being invested into. But if you bring up the topic and you ask the city manager, so, what are we invested in? You can find out and then start to get your local city to stop investing in certain companies. So that's, and if you go to the right places, back from the brink has all the paperwork there, has sample resolutions and so on. So I recommend, if you've got nothing better to do, that's a activity you can do from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go anywhere, and follow these people's toolkits and what have you. It's just part of the whole effort to bring it to the public's attention, what's going on with the military spending and who's making the profits, and the fact that we should be spending this money on other things. I think in the last minutes, I gave you a link to the national priorities, or maybe I didn't. National priorities have issued their once a year analysis of how much of your tax dollars, and they talk about the average taxpayer, how many thousands, right? So the average taxpayer maybe pays $5,000 a year in taxes to the federal government. Like half of that, $2,500 or so, goes straight to the military, and then a fraction of that ends up in Lockheed Martin's coffers. So this is why, you know, we need to keep on talking to the public about this, because most of them no idea where their the money they send to the IRS on April the 15th actually ends up. National Priorities provides very nicely put out and explained and well-designed explanations of that. Did I actually put that in last minutes? I don't remember.
That's easy to look up. Also, look up the Government Accountability Office, and they're talking about how there is no accountability. The 5 of the 37 programs that are a high risk for, what did they call it, fraud, mismanagement, and waste are in the Department of Defense. So not only is all that money going there, but it's being embezzled, basically, a lot of it. So anyway, that's something.
The GAO, Government Accounting Office. Accountability Office. This is their job, is to try to see if our money is being spent well. And as Pam just explained, it isn't. Robin, you have your hand up?
We see that a lot in the nuclear weapons complex.
Well, it turns out that I am doing tax resistance this spring, and it's for $16,000, which is more than I used to be paying on a yearly basis. But I had a bequest, a special thing that came to me in September. So it's a inheritance tax or something, and I'm refusing to pay it. So I don't know whether I'm going to be thrown in jail or not.
What did your lawyer say?
I am somewhat anxious about it, because should I go public? Should I make a speech up at the University of Vermont when all the students are organizing and say, listen, the significant thing to do is not to pay your taxes, or that's what me, an old lady, can do. At least I can't run around on the barricades, but I can refuse to give money to the military industrial complex, such as our IRS pays funds. Anyone else doing that on this call?
No, but there's different ways to do it. You can say you don't want it going to the military. I think that I don't mind paying taxes. I just don't want it going to the military so much.
Mhm.
So you can break it up and say, I will, this much I'm okay with, but this much I'm not. And that's what I would do, rather than not pay any taxes.
Well-
when I would talk to a good tax lawyer, you've got a lot to lose, Robin.
Mhm. Well, I expect to lose it, but
No, I don't want you to lose your own physical freedom.
oh, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Oh,
They're not putting people in jail.
they aren't? Okay, good.
Well, I don't want you to be the first.
Okay.
Right. So, well, bully for you, Robin. I think that's probably enough on divesting and taxes. And we already dealt with Ukraine. So we're into committee support reports. And Ellen wrote that she was having trouble with her ability to hear. And so she has logged off. But to my knowledge, I'm guessing our account balance in the Disarm account remains the same.
I would think so,
Um,
yeah.
And I urge those of you, when you do make a donation to WILPF, which one hopes some of you will do, you can designate it to go to Disarm. That's what I did. It took months because I send it to the Peace Development Fund, so it's tax deductible. And they sit on it, and then it finally gets sent to Chris Wilbeck, and she finally puts it into the Disarm account. Or if you just send it to Chris Wilbeck because you're not worried about it being tax deductible, she will put the money that you have donated into the Disarm account. Okay, so we hear, you know, budget cuts are necessary. We've heard about this in previous meetings, and so the amount of money that each issue committee may be given may be reduced this year, so we can make up for that by sending our own money to help. Okay. So the next item will be setting the next meeting. And as you know, we meet on the second and the last Sunday of each month. So the second Sunday, this is this last Sunday in April.
Is
so
Mother's Day.
happens to be
Oh.
Mother's Day. The 12th, Mother's Day in the US, not in the, most of the rest of the world celebrates Mother's Day back in March. Does anybody feel that that's a reason not to have the meeting on the 12th? Is anybody expecting their children to take them out for dinner that night?
Guess not.
No, no.
Well, then I think we wrap up and my job is done and I'm going to hit the sack. I've been at it. It's been a very busy 3 days. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. You gave me a lot.
So not hearing anybody.
Wow, 3
So
days.
we will keep it on the 12th, right? We'll keep it on the 12th of May, even though it is Mother's Day.
Yes.
That's all right. I'm doing something earlier. We're having a Mother's Day special and somebody's going to read Julia Ward Howe's proclamation. We're having a Palestinian woman talk about mothers and children in Palestine, and should be a really good program.
Wow.
This is a peace action program.
Yeah, it's in person. It's a
Right.
Mother's Day lunch.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is the evening sun. It's coming here. So,
Okay, well, good night.
all right.
Take
Well,
care.
thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.